Welcome, everyone, to your Lionsgate portal presentation. We're going to talk all about the Lionsgate portal. Maybe you've heard of it. If you haven't, well, you have now. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm Joshua the Psychic. You can check out my website, psychicsun.com. If there's anything I can do for you. So let's talk about this wonderful portal that we have going on. Essentially, the Lionsgate portal is in and around August 8th. August 8th is when it's exact because it's 8/8. And, well, it peaks every year on August 8th when the Earth aligns with Sirius and Orion's belt. Sirius is the brightest star, and it's a time of heart-led manifestation and spiritual courage. It's a gateway, they say, of light and frequency. It's rooted in Leo's themes of power and expression. It's amplified by the numerology of 8/8, which we'll talk further about. And it's a chance to walk through this portal with intention and boldness. So let's talk about what the Lionsgate is and what it isn't. So it's not an eclipse. However, we do have eclipse season coming very, very soon. Our first eclipse will be on September 7th, 2025. And the one after is going to be on I think it's the 22nd. Let me make sure. It will be on the 21st of September. So you'll have a lunar eclipse. That's a full moon in Pisces on the 7th. And then another new moon in Virgo. We're going to have two new moons in Virgo. One will be in August, on August 22nd, and the other one will actually be on September 21st. So the Lionsgate portal is not a solar event or an eclipse. It's a symbolic and energetic event, and it's not rare. It happens every single year. It's not universal dogma. Some astrologers don't even buy into it. That's fine. The value comes from how you work with the energy. I mean, it's one of those things. Yes, we do have this alignment of Sirius and Orion's belt. We also have the numerology, but if it speaks to you, then you want to definitely use it. If you're feeling like, yeah, it's just another day, something that astrologists just made up, well, that's fine too. Casmar, great to see you. I hope your meeting went well. Thanks for joining. So yeah, some people don't buy into it. That's fine. If it doesn't resonate, well, it doesn't resonate. Of course, it's not instant magic. You don't 8/8 doesn't come and then you just walk through this imaginary portal or the portal you're imagining in your head and it's one and done. You have to utilize the energy on 8/8 and allow that to inspire your days forward. So it's not about just asking once for what it is that you want. It's tuning your frequency to the energy of the portal and those Leo gifts: courage, bravery, strength, confidence, self-expression, and tuning your frequency to that portal and taking soul-aligned action. Like, what do you really, really want? What is it that you really strongly, truly desire? Because that is your compass in a lot of respects. It talks about who you really are by virtue of what you desire. And like I said, if it doesn't resonate, well, then don't force it. And you can just allow yourself to be reflective and see if you feel anything different. And it's one doorway. There's going to be other doorways too, but trust your own timing. You may not want to do anything particular for this event, right? And that's fine. Not an issue. Oh, you told them you had class to attend? That's very sweet. Thank you, Casmar. Hey, Kelsey, nice to see you. So what is the Lionsgate? It's a cosmic alignment. As we said, the sun in Leo aligns with Earth, Sirius, and Orion's belt, and it forms this symbolic, energetic gateway between the human and the divine. And Sirius is our spiritual sun. It's the brightest star, and it represents divine truth, awakening, and soul evolution. And it's powerful timing. As we said, the portal occurs annually on August 8th. And it's a date charged with symbolic and numerological strength, which is very, very nice. So Leo themes are really key for this portal. So essentially, a shortcut might be, how can you be more Leo? Like, what can you do to be more Leo? How can you be in your true power, right? How can you feel more like the sun? If you were a sun god or a sun goddess, how would you feel? You'd probably feel profoundly aware of your power, but in a way that is natural and is good for everybody, because the sun shines on everyone, right? So that's another thing to keep in mind, that optimism of Leos really cannot stand anything like that's depressed. A lot of Leos, they won't even wear like all black, for instance. Some people love wearing all black. Leos don't like typically wearing all black, just because they might see it as sort of macabre or depressing, right? So you want to be optimistic. You want to really tap into that Leo energy. If you have your chart, you can see what house Leo rules for you and then really go there. That'll help you too with this energy. So Leo is the sign that is associated with courage. It teaches us bravery, the ability to pursue what we love, even if it's uncomfortable or vulnerable, right? So it takes a lot of courage to be a Leo. And courage is not the absence of fear, right? It's feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Radiance is another key Leo theme. Think of the sun. So it's about shining without apology. There's so many people, right, who worry about being too much or taking up too much space, or I have to behave and I have to, play small in order to keep other people comfortable. And if that's the case, this is an opportunity for you to say, you know what? That's not for me. I'm going to play big in this world. So own your space. Let your soul light up your external world, right? It's about tapping into your power, especially the power of the solar plexus, as well as the heart, two areas that are linked to Leo, particularly the heart. Creativity. Leos are very, very creative individuals, and it governs creative expression. And the Lion's Gate is going to help you to amplify your vision and bring it to life. In the tarot, we have King of Wands. King of Wands is cardinal. That's cardinal fire, which would be Aries. But you can still utilize that archetype of seeing your vision. The King of Wands exists through what he creates, right? So it's all about creativity, and everything that you do can be creative. And sovereignty. Leo season reminds you that you are the author of your life. Take the throne and rule your reality. And when you say take the throne, this isn't about being haughty or thinking you're better than anybody else. This is about allowing yourself to align with that inner throne within you, so you feel as if you're worthy of whatever it is that you want, like royalty, right? Additionally, the numerology of 8, and this is where it gets kind of easy, actually, because you can just focus on this number. 8 is the number of infinity, abundance, and structure. It's 2 4s, right? And spiritual mastery. It reflects inner strength and continuity. And it's a double portal, right? Because on 8-8, the vibration of the number 8 is doubled. So that opens a symbolic portal between the physical and the divine. As above, so below. Lion's Gate is a mirror. The patterns above shape your internal landscape. So what you believe, you attract. And that's really key. Like, what do you believe is coming your way? That's why great expectations can really help you to manifest, because if you're expecting something, you're allowing it. So just bear that in mind. If you're ever expecting something, right, then you're allowing it. If you're like, yeah, I really want this, but doubtful it's going to happen, you're not allowing it, right? So remember that. If you're expecting something, you're allowing it to happen. Otherwise, you may be in the way, and you don't want to be in the way of your goals. That would just be silly. Oh, so with the 8 too, what I wanted to mention, what you can do, you can, draw figures 8s with your hand. You can move your hips. in a figure eight, you can write the figure eight down, right? A million times, right? You can actually, with your eyes, trace it, like make that motion, that infinity motion, that sideways eight with your eyes, right? Or you could do a dance in the figure eight, whatever. But that's a good thing to do tomorrow if you're catching this live on the 7th. And if you can't do it on the 8th, that's fine. You get a little bit of leeway, right? You get to play with this until like August 12th. So yeah, focus on that number 8. That'll be really helpful. And it's a choice. The portal is a choice. And as I said, it started opening around the 28th of July, and it will be in effect until the 12th of August. Of course, it's going to be strongest on Friday, August 8th, 2025. So Lionsgate isn't something that happens to you. It's an invitation to step forward with vision and clarity. And there are a lot of questions that you want to ask yourself. Are you willing to walk through this and really take up more space and align with your truest power and that power of the sun? And fear is the lock and courage is the key. So to go through this portal, in order for it to be efficacious, you kind of got to get out of your comfort zone, right? You can't make big changes in your life unless you change. And change is stability, but it's something we also fear. Well, we fear loss, right? So we don't like change. So this is your moment to act boldly, act bravely, and let go of smallness. You're not doing the universe any favors by playing small. The more you can be you authentically and unapologetically, the more you're giving to the universe. And then the universe is going to give more to you. So even if this is a matter of not, saving the whales or anything like that, as long as you're showing up in your full authenticity and sharing that, that is all you have to do. And then the universe is going to be generous with you. There are some people, they're very, very generous. They might give their resources out, but they might hold back their creativity or their self-expression or something that they want to say. And that can be reflected back, right? Then the universe and other people in it might be stingy to that person because that person is being stingy by not giving of themselves. So think of Leo. They're very, very generous. They're entertainers. They always want to make sure that everybody's having a good time, right? They like laughter and play and fun. So that's another thing that you can do around this time to really tap into that portal energy. Like, are you having a good time? Like, what else would we be here for if the purpose of our lives was not joy? So one of the best things that you can do is try to find something that will make you happy. Anything that lights you up, that's going to be great for around this time. So the thing is, the astrology now is really interesting. We are currently from the new moon in Leo that we had on August 9th. We're in this new moon cycle. So we're in the waxing moon cycle as of today, the 7th of August. And that's from that Leo new moon that we had. And that Leo new moon was actually on August 9th. That's the full moon. We had the Leo new moon on, let me see, when was that? Yeah, the 24th of July. So we're calling in our heart bold desires still with this fiery heart-led focus. So we're still in this Leo moon cycle. Now, on August 9th, which is one day after the Lionsgate portal, we have the full moon in Aquarius. And that's going to give you a big, big sense of, oh, wow, I didn't see this before. And it will happen over the next, say, 2 weeks, right? So it's a powerful moment of illumination, release, and visionary insight. And it's a transition phase. So the portal sits between planting and releasing because we're in the new moon Leo cycle. The next day, we have our full moon in Aquarius. So it's a chance to amplify what you want before the full moon shift. So I would say what you want to do if you're doing any magic, if you're lighting a candle or anything like that, I would definitely say, even though the Lion's portal gate is open until, say, the 12th, I would definitely do any magic, be it lighting candles, prior to that full moon. Very, very, very important. Why? Because the full moon is like that pop. It's that culmination. But after that, directly after that, we start our waning moon cycle. So it's about taking things away. So you wouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to light a candle for a new job and light it under a full moon cycle, or a relationship. I want a really good relationship, especially if you're specifying a particular job or person or thing. That's going to take it away under the full moon cycle. So if you got to light a candle, do it on the 8th. I would say your drop dead deadline would be, well, if you're on the East Coast, 1, 2, 3, that would be 3:54 a.m. It has to happen before then on the 9th. So essentially, before you go to sleep on the 8th, do what you got to do. Don't fool around with the full moon. And, you're going to do your best manifestations under the new moon cycle. Ideally, it's going to be within 3 days of that new moon, right? And we will have a new moon on August 22nd. And that's going to be the last new moon for lighting candles for a little bit, because we have eclipse season coming up. So essentially, you can light candles under the full moon cycle, but it is a little bit more tricky. It's not as simple as I want to draw this into my life. With the full moon cycle, you have to be more about, oh, I have to let this go. I'm banishing this. And some people dig the full moon better for that, whatever. But you're going to have your last hurrah for lighting candles on August 22nd. Because then we have eclipse season, and your next cycle, your next new moon cycle, will be on October 21st. Let me just make sure. Yeah, October 21st. So that, and we're going to talk about this soon. The Virgo new moon that we have coming up, that will be your last hurrah for lighting candles until October 21st. Now, what's interesting with this Lionsgate portal, if you notice, of course, we're very, very close to the full moon. On the day when the sun rises at 6:13 a.m. in Los Angeles, the moon will be in Aquarius, right? And it's moving toward that full moon place. You see Aquarius here at 6 degrees, within 4 degrees of Pluto. Your full moon will be, I believe, at 16 degrees. So look at what's happening here. We have all of these retrograde planets. We have Mercury, we have Chiron. Chiron's an asteroid, but still, you have Neptune and Saturn, and you got Pluto. So all of these planets are retrograde. And with the retrograde planets, the energy is more inward. So a few things here that you might want to do under this Lionsgate portal. With Mercury retrograde, you got to review your goals. Like, do you still want this? Is this still really relevant for you? Are you just so used to wanting it that you're used to flowing your energy in that way and thinking in that way? Now, Mercury rules thoughts, right? And your thinking. So if you've reconsidered your goal, and you actually still want it, with Mercury retrograde, you got to refine your thinking. Are you thinking from the place of already having achieved what it is that you want, or at least en route to achieving what it is that you want? Are you thinking in the right way, right? Is your attitude such that you can manifest what it is that you want, right? Now, in addition to Mercury, you got Chiron. Chiron retrograde, and Chiron is the wounded healer. So one thing that you might want to ask yourself when reviewing your intentions, are your intentions coming from that wounded child? Or are your intentions coming from that sovereign self, that empowered self, right? Because if you're coming from that place of woundedness and your goals are aligned with ego, which would mean that you're wounded, then it's not going to be as efficacious. You want to make sure that your intentions are coming from this more empowered space. So you're not coming from this person who needs validation. You're coming from this place in which you have given that already to yourself, and you've given yourself that stamp of approval, right? So just check in with your goals. Make sure that they're not coming from a place of woundedness, right? That they're coming from a place of authenticity. We also have Neptune retrograde. So are you visualizing what it is that you want, right? Are you visualizing it as clearly as you can? Are you allowing yourself to go into that imaginative state and feel as if it's already happened? Can you see the details? Can you hear what's in the background, right? Likewise, with Neptune retrograde, are you living in la la land, right? Are you being too fantastical? So you can create whatever it is that you want, right? But there are limits. And sometimes what happens is we might create this fantastical goal to keep us in place. It's like the mind will play tricks on you. So you want to make sure that you're looking at things the way they actually are. And when you're manifesting, you want to make sure that, like, okay, is this reasonable, right? Is this realizable? Is this something that can actually happen? Has it happened to other people, right? And if it's happened for other people and you are somewhat mirroring what they have to play with, then it can be great for you. But just watch out for illusions, right? Because you want to make sure that you're using this for best effect. We also have Saturn. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road. So after you wind up walking through that portal and visualizing, are you taking action? Are you making it happen? Saturn requires work, right? Are you doing the work? And the work doesn't have to be hard work. It just needs to be a matter of you pivoting when you find yourself discouraged, making sure that you're assigning positive meaning to everything that winds up happening if you can. So all circumstances in life are neutral. We assign the meaning, and the meaning that we assign determines what we get out of it. For instance, somebody gets fired, person A's, my life is over, I'll never work again. Terrible. Person B might say, this is great. Now I can get a really big pay jump by going to my next job or start my business or go on vacation, whatever it might be, right? So we are the assigners of meaning. Assign positive meaning to an inherently neutral circumstance, because all circumstances are neutral. You're going to derive from that positive results, right? So bear that in mind. And with Saturn, it's a matter of you got to be disciplined, right? What do you need to do? If you're creating a vision board, you know what might even be better is an action board, right? Create an action board, because at the end of the day, things change because you take action, and you've got to take action. I think that in terms of manifestation, that's where a lot of people fall short. They visualize, they write things down, they do scripting and affirmations and whatnot, but they're not following that up with actual action. Action is what brings your manifestations into reality. And with Saturn is going to be, really tough on you. And it's about, okay, are you working within the confines of reality? Are you doing something to actually move the needle, right? Because Saturn's not going to give you anything unless you really work for it. And again, that work doesn't have to be hard work. It's more psychological work. It's kind of that work that requires courage, right? To heal that part of you that might still be hurting, right? Or in pain, right? And that courage to go out of your comfort zone and take action that you might not be used to. If you want something that you've never had, you have to do things that you have never done. And Saturn retrograde, it's going to help you to get comfortable with applying that discipline to your life, right? So with all these retrograde planets, it's more of an internal sense of change that needs to happen. So allow yourself internally to be more disciplined, to cultivate that sense of discipline within yourself. Because if you really, really want it, you're going to be okay with doing the work. At the end of the day, even though life shouldn't be about sacrifice, if you want things to happen, sacrifice is like the wheel of fortune. It makes things happen, right? You make a sacrifice and it really is a big deal. It's almost like an offering, right? So sometimes we're going to have to sacrifice our comfort in order to get what it is that we want. And Saturn's going to help you to do that. And then finally, you got Pluto retrograde too. So is the you that is asking for this desire, that holds this desire, is he or she ready to be in that position of power? Are you keen on taking on that responsibility? Are you ready to be empowered, or are you afraid of having a lot of power, right? Great power, when you have great power, it comes with great responsibility, right? So with Pluto retrograde, are you comfortable being empowered? Are you comfortable with being somebody who says, I wanted this and I got it? Are you comfortable being empowered, right? Because that's a big part of this Lion's Gate and all manifestation. Like, are you okay with being empowered? And also, are you okay with being responsible for whatever it is that you wind up manifesting? Because you're going to need to do that. Oh, Casmar agrees. What is this? Sacrifice and hard work. Yes, that's what makes things happen. So with all these retrograde planets, review your goals. Are they coming from the most empowered you? Or are they coming from that wounded child, right? If they are clear and you're coming from your most authentic self, just make sure you're thinking from that place if it already happened or it will be happening, right? And with Neptune, make sure that you're visualizing it. Stay out of fantasy. Saturn, hard work, and then Pluto, be comfortable with that power. Additionally, manifest what matters. So soul-aligned desires are going to be key, right? If you're like, I really want a Lamborghini. Okay, well, do you want a Lamborghini so you can show off to your neighbors or your ex? Or do you really want one because you feel that it's representative of who you really are and that it's an extension of yourself? So this portal supports manifestations that come from truth, not ego, not pressure, pure heart-led longing. And also, it's a matter of you making sure that what you want is what you really want, not what somebody says, you really should want this, because nobody knows, right? Except you. Bold visions, don't water it down. This is the time to call in whatever lights you up, even if it feels scary and somewhat impossible. Again, you gotta really have a series of conversations with yourself. Do I think this isn't feasible because of my own insecurity, or because, well, I'm probably not going to be the president of the United States, right? Or something that's, huge like that, right? Again, if you have the desire to be president of the United States, well, you're going to have to do all of the work in order to get to that level, right? Or whatever it is that might be a very big goal for yourself, right? So determine whether or not you're thinking that, oh, it might not happen. Is that because of your own self-doubt? Or is it because you're just a logical person, right? I mean, I feel like if somebody that is like you has achieved what it is that you want to achieve, well, it's not impossible. Authenticity first. So you're not here to copy others. Use the Lionsgate portal to claim the life that fits you, not the one you were told to want, right? So that process of individuation, as we grow up, we determine what our values are, what makes us laugh, what makes us smile. And ideally, we cultivate our life out of those values, out of those preferences, right? So make sure you're being really authentic. And sacred clarity, get specific. Energetic portals amplify what you feed them, right? So confused intentions can create mixed results. So you got to make sure you're staying in that vibration, right? Get really clear. And, like I said, we had our new moon in Leo on the 24th of July. And ideally what we'd be doing around that time, 24th, 25th, 26th, is writing our new moon wish list and focusing on our intentions. This is very, very far into that new moon cycle. Like I said, the full moon is right the next day, right on the 9th of August. So you got a very, very small window if you want to do any like magic or intention setting that is ritualistic. At the same time, after the 8th and after the 9th, there just shouldn't be a ritual. Do you know what I mean? Like, there shouldn't be a ritual. You can still think from that space. And remember, you're already manifesting all the time, no matter whether or not it's the Lionsgate portal, a new moon, a full moon. You're constantly manifesting by what you're thinking and what you're feeling, and your thoughts create your emotions, right? So throughout every day of the year, all 365 days, you're manifesting with what you think and what you feel. So be sure to stay in that vibration of thinking in the right way and feeling as good as you possibly can. And sometimes it's tough. We all get into our moods. And if that's the case, well, do what you can to let it go and express it, right? Or at least try to get into neutral. I would say the most important thing with this Lionsgate portal is to be in as good a mood as possible, because whatever it is that you're manifesting will show up first as a vibration, and that can be told by your emotions, how you're feeling. So if you want to know what you're manifesting, two things, like, well, how do you feel? And what have you manifested? And I would also look at this time, since it is so close to the full moon, really look and see what you have manifested, right? There might be things that you did. Oh, I did that. Well, give yourself credit, right? Because if you can start perceiving yourself as a really good manifester, of course, you're going to manifest even more, right? So rituals and practices, again, I would definitely do this really up until the 12th, right? Work with the energy by anchoring it into simple, intentional acts. Don't overcomplicate it. Just focus, align, and act. Journaling's really good. What would you ask for if you knew it would be granted? If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you try to do or do? You might want to visualize golden light pouring from the sky through your crown chakra, the top of the head. I would light a gold or white candle before the full moon, if you want. And you can work with some crystals, maybe citrine, carnelian, some sunstone. Get your space set up. It could be a lot of fun. And you want to, prior to this full moon, you might want to be a little bit dramatic. I mean, the sun is in Leo. And the more dramatic you are with your rituals, the more it's going to stick in your subconscious, right? Because that's what you want. You want to leave a lasting impression on your subconscious with the magic that you do. So then it sticks, right? And that is trumping all the other thoughts that might not be advantageous for you to think. So get dramatic. I mean, if there's ever a time to get dramatic, it's Leo season, right? So here are some affirmations and invocations. You could say, I am ready. I choose to walk through this portal with courage, clarity, and trust. You could say, I align with power. I call in a life that reflects my heart, not my fear. You could say, I release smallness. I shed the versions of me that played it safe and stayed unseen. I think that's probably the most important one for this portal. And you could say, I trust my light. Even if I can't see the full path, I trust my next step. And really, trusting your intuition, right, is really going to be key. Because that's what ideally will happen, right? You'll visualize how you want things to go, and then you're going to get these impulses. I think I'm going to go to that barbecue. I wasn't going to go, but now I'm going to go to it, right? Or I think that there's a concert going on. I think I should go to that concert, or whatever it might be. I should apply to this job. I should go to this grocery store, whatever. So you visualize it, you step into that portal, and then you're going to get these intuitive nudges, these hunches, and you want to follow them. And that's the action that you take to meet heaven and earth, right? Because that physical action that you wind up taking is how you bridge what is going on in the heavens with this Lionsgate portal and what you're doing here on earth. Oh, thank you. Love to you. Love to you, Manis in India. Thank you for joining. Yes, you've got to trust that next step. Definitely. So some journal prompts. I think this could be really, really great, especially with Mercury retrograde. And you can do this whenever you want. Courageous vision. What would you call in if you knew the universe would help make it happen? Identity shift. Who are you becoming and what needs to be released to meet that version? So when we're talking about this portal stuff, you're essentially allowing yourself to be more authentic. And being more authentic is stepping into that sovereignty, right? And really, it's not going to necessarily feel authentic straight away, right? Because in order for you to get what it is that you want, you have to be the person who already has it, right? Which would mean that you have to change since you don't already have it. But the ironic thing is that by allowing yourself to align more closely with your desire, you're actually being more authentic. The person that does play small, that doesn't step into her true power, that's actually the inauthentic self that you were supposed to be, right? Or that you were trained to be. So you want to allow yourself to align with that version of you that already has it, right? And that version of you is the more authentic self, because at the end of the day, you're supposed to be empowered. You're supposed to be strong and joyful, right? So although it might feel like you're acting like somebody else, which is important to do because you have to be somebody else metaphorically in order to get something you've never had, at the end of the day, that actually is more you because you're more aligned with your power, right? Although it may feel uncomfortable at first. So there is a bit of an identity shift. And wild truth. Where have you dimmed your light or ignored what you really want? Unfortunately, nobody's going to come down to earth and say, well, are you doing everything that you can in order to be as happy as you want? Maybe you have a therapist or astrologer, etc., that might say that to you, but typically nobody's going to really tell you that. Nobody's going to take responsibility for your joy. Nobody cares, right? We're all caught up in our own shit. So nobody's going to do that. You've got to be the one that says, am I dimming my own light? Because really a lot of people, they might be fine with you dimming your light, or they don't notice, or they don't care. And I would say that in terms of people, unfortunately, you got to be very, very judicious with people that are around you. That doesn't mean that, everybody's after what you want or everybody is jealous. But if you get just a hint of jealousy from somebody, run miles away. Because at the end of the day, somebody's going to get hurt. Either you're going to get hurt because you're going to play small in order to placate them and to make them feel better, or they're going to get hurt because you're winning. So you want to make sure that you're just a little bit sensitive to that. You'll notice if some people are like, oh, you're doing that or you're going there. Oh, that's nice. Where'd you get that? You'll notice those things, right? So you just got to be very judicious. You don't want to waste your time with people who resent you for having what it is that you have, all right, or being who it is that you are. So be very, very careful. You don't want to waste your time with anybody that you might sense is really jealous of you. Now, of course, in all relationships, there might be a ping of jealousy that somebody has because, maybe you got something and they are a little bit jealous of it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that sense of this person really resents you for having what it is that you have and being who you are. And that is a big, big red flag, right? There's enough issues that you're going to have being the most authentic self that you are, shining as brightly as you are, because a lot of people are people pleasers. So if I sense that like this person's jealous of me, I'm going to downplay, right? I'm going to cover my light up and I'm going to be like, oh yeah. And I'm going to hide my light under a bushel to make them feel better. Well, that's great for them, right? But also, actually, it might be good for them in the moment, but that also keeps them in homeostasis too, right? Because they're not then getting the example that you're showing. Like at the end of the day, Leo is a leader, right? It shows you this is how you do it, right? So at the end of the day, if you really want to serve your friends, you're never going to dim your light. You're going to be your most authentic self. And so we have our full moon the day after. The full moon will be on August 9th. That's going to bring illumination. What's rising in your awareness now that you're now is part of your Lionsgate story. So that full moon is going to give you even more understanding of where you're at. After that full moon, of course, we start the waning cycle. That's the taking away cycle. That's why I want you to light candles if you're lighting them. Absolutely on the 8th, not on the 9th. And it's a time to release, refine, and clear blocks to manifestation over those 2 weeks. And that would be August 9th to August 22nd with that new moon in Virgo that we have. So your next new moon will be in Virgo after the full moon in Aquarius on August 9th. That will be on the 22nd or the 23rd of August, depending on where you are. So now's the moment to prepare and clean the spiritual field, right? So that full moon is going to come and it's going to shine a big light on this is something that does not belong here, right? Or this is where I'm screwing up. So how to integrate? After you walk through the portal, the work continues. Don't rush back into chaos. Let your system catch up. Now, this is a very intense energy. It's almost like Jupiter. Like Jupiter expands whatever it touches, right? So if you got Jupiter in the 6th house, transiting your 6th house of health, for instance, there could be, something small that gets bigger. Like a hangnail becomes like, gangrene. Probably impossible, but bear with me for a second. Because Jupiter, it expands whatever it touches. So if you have a health problem and you have Jupiter transiting your 6th, that health problem is probably going to expand. At the end of the day, you're going to take care of that health problem and you're going to be better off. But it needed to expand in order for you to handle it because you wouldn't have went to the doctor for a hangnail, but you're going to have to for gangrene, right? Awful example, but I hope you understand where I'm coming from. Same thing, because this Lionsgate portal is really strong. You want to ground yourself, right? You want to make sure that you're really grounded, you're nice and stabilized. It always helps, if you have a dog, that's wonderful. You get to pet your dog or any other animal you may have. Ground yourself with nature, even looking at nature. Ideally, you'd be around nature, touching a tree, kissing a rock. Rest and quiet will help too. Now, after the Lionsgate portal, reflect on what came up. Journal again. That's going to give you great insight. Take one brave action toward your new vision. What can you do that you hadn't done before that makes you realize, oh, I was brave? So you want to feel the fear and do it anyway. And let go of the need to control the timing. Mercury is retrograde. All right. And that slows things down. And as we said, we have several other planets that are also retrograde. So when things do not happen on your clock, you got to go roll the punches, right? There's nothing that you can do. It's Saturn, right? You can't really tell Saturn to move up or speed up. However, you can change your perception of time, meaning that if you can enjoy your process and fall in love with your process and fall in love with whatever it is that you do, well, time is going to go by very, very quickly, right? So trust the timing of things. Don't try to force things. It will happen when it's supposed to happen. But do bear in mind, we have eclipse season coming up. Again, we have our first eclipse on September 7th. Our next one after that will be on the 22nd of September. That will be the second new moon in Virgo. And that's going to shift things around. So if you have not manifested what you have wanted to manifest, you still got to prepare, right? It's kind of like talking with the universe, like, oh, okay, well, I manifested this. This is what it's telling me. Sometimes you'll manifest something and you'll be like, well, I got this, which is amazing. But I really wish it was more like this, right? And that's what the full moon is about, right? Because then you get to refine and tweak and make little adjustments so you're getting the full picture of what you want, just not a part of it. So let go of the need to control. Let go and let God. Reminders to carry forward. You're the gatekeeper. This portal opens for everyone, but you decide whether or not you want to walk through it. Some people are not going to walk through it. Maybe they're going to lie low. Maybe they're going to catch a movie. Clarity over control. Be clear on your desires, but release the timeline. Control kills the magic. If you want to be magical, be playful and fun. Remember, the lighter you are, the lighter your heart is, the more you're in spirit. And the more you're in spirit, you're going to be able to create from the field and bring it down to earth. If you're sad and downtrodden and feeling really like heavy and that, life is terrible, everybody hates me, I think I'm going to go eat worms, that is not going to be the manifestation space that is going to help you, right? You want to be light so your energy, your spirit can fly up into the field, change things around there. Because remember, everything that winds up happening, it happens in the field first, right? It happens in your psyche first. So make sure you're having fun and going light and really just giving the universe the benefit of the doubt. Well, this didn't happen, but that's okay. Soon it will. Stay consistent. So live this portal energy daily. Step into your sovereignty daily. You can visualize that light from the universe, that golden light shining into your crown every day. You don't have to do it only when the sun is in Leo or on 8/8/25. You can do it all the time, right? And it's about focusing on what you want, right? And follow your excitement, follow your fire. Let what lights you up becomes your compass. It's not selfish, it's sacred. Because the best gift you can give to anybody is your happiness. Because if you're happy, you're going to have energy, and then you're going to want other people to be happy. If you're miserable, well, misery loves company. Very much so. So the best gift you can give anyone is your happiness. So follow your excitement and allow yourself to enjoy your life. Let what lights you up become your compass. Follow your excitement like a breadcrumb trail, the best that you can. Does anybody have any questions before I let you go tonight? So you can start your manifesting for the portal. Does anybody have any questions? While I'm waiting, we have a lot of cool streams coming up for you. Of course, tomorrow will be This Week Astrology. We'll talk about all of next week. And of course, then we're going to be soon talking about that new moon in Virgo, right? We have our new moon in Virgo coming up. So our full moon cycle is going to be on the 9th. We have those 2 weeks of that waning moon cycle of letting go. What is love flows, what is not goes. And then on the 22nd of August, we're going to have our new moon. And we're going to have a live stream next week about that, right? So no questions. Okay, well, it was great to see everyone. Oh, thank you, Kelsey. I appreciate that. Great to see everybody. I will see you tomorrow for This Week Astrology. And of course, next week, we have a few other streams as well. So take good care, everybody, and enjoy your Lionsgate portal. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.